Hello, Cryptonauts, and welcome back to another episode of Cryptocurrency Chat. I am your host, Jake Jabarelli, here with my co-host, or technically original host, Blockchain John. How you doing, John?
Hello. I am good. Spazzy as can be. Yep.
All right, well, we got another new show here for you today, coming up on the
Episode 399.
399, almost a 400. Isn't that amazing in only 2 years? Absolutely a lot of episodes. So yeah, we got a lot of great news since it's the middle of the week, being Wednesday. And we got to do the top 10 daily stats to start. So we're going to let John, because he's so good at it, start us off. I'm going to hit that refresh first.
Oakley dokley. Okay, refresh on coingecko.com. Let's start off with Bitcoin, settling at $39,441.62 with a 7-day loss of 4.7% and a market cap of $750 billion. Number 2, Ethereum, settling at $2,893.83 with a 7-day loss of 6% and a market cap of $349 billion. Tether in number 3, settling at 99 cents with a slight 0.1% loss in the past 7 days with a $83 billion market cap. And number 4, we have BNB settling at $390.99 with a 7-day loss of 6.5% and a market cap of $65 billion. Number 5, USD coin settling at 99 cents with a no gain, no loss apparently, and a market cap of $49 billion. Number 6, Solana, settling at $99.57 with a 7-day loss of 5.7% and a market cap of $33 billion. Number 7, XRP, settling at 65 cents with a 7-day loss of 13.5% in the past 7 days.
Did you notice the difference there, that XRP used to be in 6th place and now it's in 7th?
Yeah. Well, I noticed that it's 65 cents and it's down 13.5%. That's a lot, dude. That's like for being a top 10. Look at that. It's crazy.
Yep.
With a market cap of $31 billion. Number 8, Terra, settling at $90.16 with a 7-day loss of 5% and a market cap of $31 billion. So it looks like XRP and Terra are neck
really
and neck.
close right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I wouldn't even. So does that mean that, yeah, technically XRP is going down to 8th then, right?
Yeah, pretty soon. I think it'll drop once Terra gets a little bit higher.
Finally! My vision's coming true. Number 9, Cardano, which is crazy, bro. No joke. I actually know somebody at work that is an XRP hodler. And he's an XRP activist. And I'm like, why? He goes, well, because I bought it early, and it's like, yeah. So what? I don't get it. Please explain. Anyways, long story short, he couldn't explain it. He just got into it early, and that's why he's an activist about it. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, where was that? Number 9?
Terra.
Yeah, it was number 9. Yeah, number
no,
9.
okay.
Cardano.
You said Cardano. My bad.
Cardano at 84 cents and a past 7 days down 10% and a market cap of $27 billion. And of course, number 10, we have Polkadot settling at $17 flat with a 7-day loss of 10.9% and a market cap of $18 billion. All right, then we got the Jake's 5 runner-up. We got Avalanche, Dogecoin, Terra USD, Binance USD, and the Shiba Inu.
Actually, it's interesting to notice is the market cap for Polkadot, Avalanche, and Dogecoin, as well as Terra USD. Look at their market caps and how close they are.
Yeah.
18.8, 18.7, 18.7, 18.4. They're all in $18 billion range.
Yep.
Gives me hope for Dynamo.
Crazy. All right. Yep. All right. So let's see. The overall total market cap is at $1.9 trillion, up by 1.7% in the past 24 hours. Bitcoin's dominance currently is at 39.4% and Ethereum at 18.3%. So let's see.
Gwei is way up too. Four times what it was last time we were on the show.
It was. I think it was 32 Gwei, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 32.
110.
So yeah,
It's very high.
Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Cryptonauts, we are using coingecko.com, and we did sign up for their candies, and you guys can too. You just head on over here, like I'm about to do, and top right corner is a little candy jar. Sign up, collect the little candies every single day. You get more and more and more, and it resets once you hit 100. Jake and I have been collecting our candies for a while, and what we do is we save them up so we can buy some awesome NFTs, because sometimes there's some awesome drops on here, or if you want some products and services that are offered by CoinGecko. Like here, for example, I already own this one, the CoinGecko Candy Collector. You guys can own that too. All right. Anything else? Should I just jump over to the plug? I can do that.
If you want to do the plug,
Sure.
we've done it in a while.
Why not? Yeah, why not? So, Cryptonauts, guess what? We do have a Discord channel for for C3 Media. What you can do is head over to our, to our coin tree below. Check it out. Here's the coin tree. And there's a bunch of links. We got the YouTube channel, Discord, Twitter. We got a Patreon if you guys want to help us out. Kick us back a few dollars to help us, preserve and grow C3 Media. If you want to donate in crypto, there's a wallet here with a bunch of addresses. You guys can help us out. With that said, we do have a bunch of channels within our server in Discord. You guys can come hang out. And let's see. You can see, for example, Jake here has done his daily. What I'll do is copy that over, get some free C3 coins. Ding, there it is. 44 days in a row, and you get some C3 coins, like I just did right there. And you get some. Let's see. Let's go to the shop here. Got a bunch of NFTs within the shop. There's a couple of them on there. And yeah, bunch of games. Get to hang out, chat, news. If you want a job, actually, there you go. Yeah, it's crypto careers. If you're looking for a job in crypto, there it is. Bunch of jobs on there. Bunch of channels. You like Ravencoin, Dynamo, Dara, Hacker Dojo. Yeah, cool. All right then, back to you, Jake.
Yeah, it's sorry, I don't really have that stuff open because I have other stuff on that screen. I should probably in the future pull that up so we can describe our Discord channel so you guys can see it more easily. Sorry. So I mean, yes, the live streamers are watching this, but anybody in the recording isn't going to see it.
Yeah. By the way, so for you guys that are watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast, I am live streaming on Twitch. Head over to what is it? Twitch.tv/ Blockchain John. I think that's what it is. Yeah, Blockchain John.
All right, we get on to the news. Thanks for that update on the channel and on the podcast. We've got a lot of news because it's Wednesday and there's always a lot of news in the middle of the week. And our first news comes from Felix Mullen off of Crypto Potato, which is the site from which we read our news. Probably, is it good? We want to announce the change, or are we going to wait until it actually happens?
Yeah, just wait.
All right. You guys will see what we're talking about. Anyways, Riot Blockchain to build a private electricity station for its Bitcoin miners. Right. Enhance the size of this. People to read it on mobile phones. Bitcoin mining is a very energy-intensive activity. I should know this personally. But that won't be a problem for Riot Blockchain Inc. The U.S. mining company decided to create its own electrical substation in Texas to obtain higher profits. On April 27th, Riot Blockchain Inc., a Bitcoin mining company founded in 2000, that was a long time ago, before Bitcoin even was. How'd they do that? No. Announced its intention to build 1.7...
Explain to me.
Pardon?
Please explain to me how that works.
I don't know. I will figure it out. But 1.7 gigawatt electrical substation in Navarro County, Texas, to meet the electricity demands of its mining equipment without compromising the city's power grid. That's a smart idea. To put things in perspective, a station of this capacity could be enough to supply the electricity consumption of more than 2 million residents and mitigate the emissions of 600,000 tons of greenhouse gases per year. Therefore, Riot will have enough energy to power the more than 4 buildings and they expect to build in the next 2 years to install their mining farms. And boy, do I know how this works. According to Riot, the project's first phase will be fully operational in July 2023, which is a year and a quarter from now, providing accommodation for various immersion-cooled mining machines. Very smart. The substation project is already underway, and the first phase will kick off with an initial capacity of 400 megawatts. So much power. It will then be increased by an additional 600 megawatts through a switched gear located 1,250 feet apart from the plant. It's not really that far. Jason Less, a Riot Blockchain's CEO, said that once the expansion is complete, Riot's developed capacity will be 1.7 gigawatts, or 1,700 megawatts, or 1.7 million watts. Billion watts. An achievement that will catapult the company as one of the largest in Bitcoin mining industry globally. Riot's ability, this is a quote from him, Riot's ability to source such a significant expansion opportunity in Texas exemplifies the company's partnership-driven approach with all stakeholders, including the company's business partners, ERCOT, which is the local power company, and all levels of government to commit to sustainable economic development, end quote. In turn, Chad Harris, CEO of Windstone, said that this expansion was an example of positive environmental and economic impacts that Bitcoin mining companies could deliver in underdeveloped regions of America. The station will have an initial cost of approximately $333 million and will help generate more than 270 direct jobs in Navarro County. As Crypto Potato reported today, the Texas city of Fort Worth became the first U.S. city to mine Bitcoin, which is interesting because that was a piece of news I was going to read later, but I guess we can read it now. Using 3 S9 Antminers donated by the Texas Blockchain Council. There was such a thing. This initiative has the backing of Mayor Mattie Parker, who pointed out the energy costs could be mitigated by Bitcoins obtained through mining. She also indicated that future investments of this type of activity depend heavily on an in-depth evaluation that will take place within the next 6 months. So, like El Salvador, with its Bitcoin law, is an interesting experiment that many financial organizations are following. Texas is slowly becoming a guinea pig for Bitcoin mining industry, both American and global. Since apparently Texas is pro-Bitcoin. I personally found that it seems to be a bipartisan issue. Both sides of the United States political sphere, they both like money. Yeah. So
here's something I want to say. So this article here, this sentence here, the Texas city of Fort Worth became the first U.S. city to mine Bitcoin using 3 S9 Antminers donated by the Texas Blockchain Council. Mm-hmm. So does that mean that technically the Texas government is mining Bitcoin or crypto?
Yeah, no, they said they were going to. So yes.
Okay. Now, I'm okay with that, but I'm just a little sour in a way because I know that a lot of governments, a lot of local governments are going to be veering towards that to improve their, I guess their local monies, at their pools, their banks, their purse. What I'm trying to get at is, I found out recently that here in Silicon Valley, some folks in government, I don't know them directly, but I found out that they were using government hardware, or just, when I say hardware, they're using the regular computers to mine Bitcoin or crypto in general. But when there was an audit, apparently they were discovered and they got fired. They're part of like IT, and they got fired.
Mm-hmm.
What's annoying about that is that all the governments are going to be doing this in the near future.
Well,
they're firing people because they're doing the same thing that you guys are going to be doing in a few months from now.
Maybe, but they don't know that yet. I guess the point is, it was unsanctioned when these IT guys were doing it, and it is sanctioned the government knew about it in the case of this Texas situation, whereas in the other situation they didn't know about it. As long as you were going to cut them in on the money, because if you think about it, this actually happened in Sacramento not that long ago. A friend of mine works in a department in California State's government, and some of the IT guys in his department were also mining using the government's dime, as it were. That's I can see the attraction, the interest. Like, oh, hey, look all this free power. It's not free power. It's not yours to use. You use it because you use it for work. If what you're doing at work is for work purposes, yeah, sure, they'll let you do it. But you need to get it run it past your managers and your supervisors and the people, the higher ups, so they know what you're doing. And if they approve it, go right ahead. But if they don't approve it, it's illegal, or it's against the policy.
Yeah, I see your point.
So yeah, if you were mining Bitcoin on your desktop, this is the same. All right, I was an IT guy a long time ago, just as another aside here, and I used to get guys keeping MP3s before streaming was a thing on their desktops, and I would tell them, hey, I don't care if you connect an external hard drive to your computer and stream off of that to listen to music at your desk, but please don't store it on the computer because you don't own this. It's not yours to do that with. And they're like, well, it's my computer. I'm like, yes, while you're working here, it's your computer, but you don't own it. So you can't technically just put whatever you want on it. And mainly because I can see it. And if you run out of storage space on your computer because it's full of MP3s, and then you come to me, I'm going to say delete the MP3s. Sense. So
I just want to finish off what here on the Riot. I guess stock information. So Riot is on NASDAQ. The tickers are RIOT. It's currently priced at this moment at $10.98. So if you want to get into it,
I would say get into it. The market's down right now, so probably not a bad idea. And yes, it's financial advice, but no, there's nothing against doing it. So, as we said before in the show. So continuing on with U.S. Congressman could face charges. Ooh.
Mandy Williams, U.S. U.S. Congressman could face charges for promoting a crypto pump and dump scheme. Bum, bum, bum. Addison Cawthorn, a Republican congressman of North Carolina, has been accused of his involvement in a pump and dump crypto scheme dubbed Let's Go Brandon, ticker Let's Go. According to a recent report by the Washington Examiner, several regulatory watchdogs have implicated Cawthorn in an alleged insider trading scheme involving the relatively short-lived crypto project. Let's Go Brandon is a meme coin named after the chant mocking President Joe Biden. Hedge fund manager James Kutulas pioneered the project. On December 29th, 2021, Cawthorn posted on Instagram, LGB Legends. Tomorrow we go to the moon. He also admitted that he has a portion of the cryptocurrency in his portfolio. Interestingly, on December 30th, NASCAR driver Brandon Brown revealed that the crypto project will be the primary sponsor of his 2022 season. The news created a massive buzz, and as a result, the Let's Go token soared 75% and even attained a market cap of $570 million. In a sudden turn of events, NASCAR rejected the project's sponsorship deal with Brown in January 2022. Unidentified insiders who had purchased a substantial amount of the coins in circulation quickly dumped all of them. This caused the meme coin to plummet to zero. Oof.
Yep.
And investors, and investors were left scratching their heads in losses. One disgruntled investor recently filed a class action lawsuit accusing Tulas and others Let's Go Brandon insiders of using the token to stage a pump and dump scheme. While Cawthorn was not directly named as a defendant in the lawsuit, he was identified as one of the project's endorsers and had helped inflate its price just before the rug was pulled. The watchdog cited in the report pointed out that Cawthorn probably had an advanced non-public knowledge of Let's Go's deal with Brown, hence his post and statement. They suggest that Cawthorn be investigated by the U.S. Department of Justice and the Securities and Exchange Commission to deduct whether he violated federal insider trading laws. Speaking on the case, Dylan Hetzer, the government's affair manager for one of the federal watchdogs, said, quote, "This looks really, really bad. This doesn't look like a classic case of you got some insider information and acted on that information, and that's illegal." Yeah. All right, we'll leave it at that. There's a lot more. Actually, that's one more. A couple more sentences. I guess I'll finish off. Yeah. Why is it? That's weird. Mine's like really long. I guess there's. Okay, whatever. After its catastrophic failure in January, the project was relaunched on a month later, with Kutulas claiming that it now has safeguards to prevent whales from selling their stash at once. The project, however, has failed to take off and is trading around 95% below its peak during the first launch. Hawthorne, on the other hand, continues to promote the Let's Go branding token in campaigns.
Yeah, I hate to put it this way. I mean, actually, no, I don't hate to put it this way, but to be fair to Madison, who doesn't make a lot of wise decisions, he's just a poster boy for doing everything wrong, despite being a congressperson. It seems like pain and suffering follows him everywhere he goes, and it's not just because he's in a wheelchair, but yeah, he makes a lot of dumb decisions, and I hate to say this about people who are in their mid-20s, because he's 26, but maybe there's a reason why they say you couldn't be a congressperson until 25, but I still think 25, when they made the rule 160 years ago, was very different than it is today.
Yeah.
I mean, people that long ago were considered adults when they were 13. So.
Well, I mean, when they were 13, they also used to smoke a pack a day and have facial hair, like beards.
Yeah,
like
but and also they tended to get married around that time. So.
Right. Yeah.
Childhood was very different 100 plus years ago, 150 years ago than it is today. So you're still kind of a kid, even though you've reached 18 or 19 or 21. You're still kind of a kid. I hate to say it. It wasn't until I reached 30 when I really started not feeling like a kid anymore. So, all right, let's get some El Salvador news. Woohoo! Yes. El Salvador from Dimitar Zanzarov, who writes most of the really good articles, in my opinion, on this site.
I agree with you.
El Salvador's Bitcoin adoption is yet to capture the local interest. That's kind of strange. This is a study. According to the American nonprofit organization National Bureau of Economic Research, or INBER, that sounds bad. Something's like burning. INBER, right? The majority of El Salvadorians, 60% that is, have not downloaded the Chivo wallet. What are they missing out on? A feature that facilitates Bitcoin transactions. It's basically a lightning wallet for El Salvadorians. Additionally,
60%.
Yeah, I know, it's a lot, isn't it? At least 40. It just means that 40% have, which means it's the number of people in El Salvador who've percentage-wise downloaded the coin wallet is way more than it is in the United States. I mean, we don't have access to the Chivo wallet here, but I mean, ours is 10%, theirs is 40%. That's still pretty good. Additionally, there have been almost no downloaded since September of 2021, when the country first became the nation to adopt the asset as legal tender. Last year, the Central American nation made the headlines when it became the first to embrace the Bitcoin as an official payment method inside its borders. Despite the enthusiasm surrounding the news, the initiative did not receive a warm welcome from the El Salvadorans. Some even took to the streets protesting against the government's decision. I guess, because they used the US dollar as their primary currency before. The recent study conducted by INBER revealed that most locals remain rather negative towards the Bitcoin adoption. The research stated 68% of the country's residents are aware of the existence of Chivo Wallet, but only 40% have downloaded it. Still, not a lot, not bad percentages. Moreover, almost all downloads occurred in September last year, shortly after El Salvador officially recognized the cryptocurrency as legal tender. The INBER further estimated that 75% of respondents with Chivo Wallet accounts would not have downloaded it without the $30 worth of Bitcoin, which every citizen receives when signing up. Yeah, this is a pretty good incentive. I think most people in the U.S. would have done it for less. Subsequently, let me just quote real quick. While most respondents spent their $30 bonus, less than half of those who downloaded the Chivo wallet continued to use it after spending the bonus. 20% of all respondents, furthermore, most users who used Chivo after spending the $30 bonus do not engage with the app intensively, the organization claimed. It's interesting they have this insight to it. Subsequently, the INBER argued that adopting Bitcoin as legal tender, yeah, like the Tinder app, right? No, might have had some positive impact on El Salvador, but the digital asset remains largely not embraced by the locals. Also, another quote: overall, despite the legal tender status of Bitcoin and the large incentives implemented by the government, the cryptocurrency is largely not accepted medium of exchange in El Salvador. end quote. Even though a huge chunk of the locals does not embrace the asset, it is worth mentioning that Bitcoin has provided certain benefits to the nation. For one, shortly after the decision to accept it as legal tender, the global Google searches for the name of the Central American country surged to a high. Like, nobody cared about El Salvador until we started talking about it, right? We started talking about it, and so everyone's just like, oh my gosh, I have to look up El Salvador, I have to go there. Apart from showing virtual interest in the nation, people started visiting it more. Exactly. I'm sure Naive figured that out. Earlier this year, El Salvador's Minister of Tourism, Morena Valdez, noted that the inflow of tourists had increased by more than 30% since adoption of Bitcoin. Brilliant strategy.
Which is what they needed. They really needed that, and
yes.
Yeah.
We
So
actually.
is it
I
cheaper
put up
wallet?
Did you watch the video I posted of the guy that was down there in El Salvador?
Oh no, I haven't watched that yet.
Okay.
No.
You were gonna say what about it? What about the Shiva wallet?
I 40. Well, I take that back. At the beginning of this article, I was like, only 40%. Actually, you're right. 40% is actually a pretty good chunk.
Yeah. Well,
For a nation.
They did point out though that most people just downloaded it for the money, spent the money, and then stopped using it. Which I would expect if we did that in the United States too.
It's typical.
But can you imagine? Let me just paint a picture that I think would be amazing, and I think Andrew Yang would get behind it 100%, since he's into Bitcoin and he's into UBI. Let's say
explain who Andrew Yang is.
Andrew Yang is one of the previous. He's a New York resident. He's I don't know if he's a billionaire. He's a multimillionaire at least, who ran for president against Trump. I don't know if he rerun in the Biden. I think he ran both times, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember him talking to Biden when they were doing the debate. So he ran in 2016. He ran again in 2020. He obviously didn't win, but his whole thing is universal basic income. He runs on that platform. That's his thing. He believes wholeheartedly in the idea. And I'm not saying I'm 100% behind it, but I do think it would affect people. And this is my crazy pitch idea. It's just relative to what we're talking about here with El Salvador. Is how much people do you think would get behind Bitcoin if they paid a UBI, a monthly UBI, to the entire citizenship of the United States in Bitcoin?
A universal basic income. So for the listeners and viewers out there, live or watching us after the recording, leave a comment below. Let us know if you would download a what would our app be?
Some kind of Lightning app.
I guess the Eagle app. How about that?
There you
go. The Chivo in Spanish is goat. So they got the goat app.
But that means Eagle, greatest of all time, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, sure. So we got the Eagle app. Would you download the Eagle app and have a universal basic income like of $100 every single month deposited into your account?
I was thinking if you wanted something relative to goat, it would have to be like horse, because horses are very recognizable in the United States. But yeah, Eagle app, that's fine. The Eagle Lightning app. Would you download it if you could get universal basic income from the United States, and that was the only way you could get it? Would you probably, everybody would do it, but how excited would you be about doing it? I guess what I'm saying. Would you be like, I don't know if I want $1,000 a month in Bitcoin if it has to come in the form of Bitcoin. I don't know.
Why would you? Okay, if you don't want it, just send it to me, please.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Yeah, you don't want your $1,000? I'll take it. But I mean, remember, it's $1,000 a month in Bitcoin, which it's going to fluctuate, absolutely. But I mean, the nice thing about a Lightning-based app is it's going to instantly transfer. You don't have to wait an hour like Bitcoin. Lightning is bam, 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 fast. That's why it's called Lightning. So, stop it.
All right, let's see. Next, we got what? Cuba?
Yeah, the Cuba Central Bank.
This is written by Shayanika Deca, Cuban Central Bank to issue licenses to virtual asset service providers. The Cuban Central Bank, the Banco Central de Cuba, is all set to issue licenses for the cryptocurrency and other virtual asset service providers, VASP. The Gazette revealed that they will be for 1 year, with the option to be extended for 1 more year. As per the resolution published in Official Gazette number 43, BCC will grant licenses to the national of the foreign individuals being what? Hold on, sorry. As per the resolution published in the Official Gazette number 43, BCC will grant licenses to national and foreign individual human beings and organizations. With the new system in place, BCC stated that the approved licenses will be valid for 1 year. However, an extension is possible for a second year, citing the experimental and novel nature of the space. No details have been further divulged regarding licenses expirations after 2 years. The Central Bank of the Caribbean also said it will examine the legality, opportunity, as well as socioeconomic interest, the characteristics of the project when considering the license request. It will also evaluate the responsibility of the applicants and their experience in the activity. The current resolution specified in the organizations operating without a license will face penalties in accordance with the existing banking and financial rules in the country. Additionally, VASP will not be allowed to terminate the services without authorizations from the BCC. Under the resolution, BCC clarifies that fiat currencies and digital representation, securities, and other assets, part of the traditional banking and financial systems, shall not fall under the virtual asset category. The decision will be effective 20 days after its publication, i.e., May 16th. The latest development comes precisely 8 months after the Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel was reported to be looking into recognizing and regulating cryptocurrencies to be used for payments. Despite taking a controlled approach towards the digital asset space, the government of the island nation is keen on exploring such operations as its economy continues to struggle to recover following the pandemic and harsher sanctions imposed by the administrations of former President Donald Trump.
Yeah, good to see that Banco Central de Cuba is participating in asset service providers, virtual asset service providers. More ways of getting crypto things done in the country. And in looking at, I guess, now that I'm spending more time personally looking at these countries through our news, readings.
What Cuba needs is, first of all, they need to really modernize their nation. People need internet. People need services. People need computers in Cuba.
Yeah, and it would be nice to be able to import cars that were newer than 1960. But
Please. Teslas.
They would. It partially had to do with the government for so long, just not allowing them to do pretty much anything. And of course, the sanctions put on to Cuba by the U.S. It just doesn't allow anything to get out there. It's not like they could have traded with other countries around nearby, but they just didn't. I mean, for whatever reason, they acted a lot like North Korea. And it just did not benefit the poor citizens. Why do we have so many Cubans in, the left side or the right side of the United States? Because when they could, they tried to escape the horrific that's the word I'm trying to think of, restrictions that their own country put on them. So it's terrible. I'm so sorry for Cuba's problems. And it's not like we helped. We didn't help. That is the United States, the government of the United States. I'm not saying I personally had anything to do with that, but some of the U.S. government is no darling. I'll put it that way. Continuing on. Brazil. Another Latino country. Well, South American. It's another American country, yep. From Dimitar Zamzaraf Brazil's Senate greenlights the country's crypto regulatory bill. Let's talk about that now with this article. The upper house of the National Congress of Brazil, the federal Senate, reportedly approved the bill that could serve as a regulatory framework for the local cryptocurrency industry. The legislation needs to receive a green light from the Chamber of Deputies before going live. The largest nation in South America is gradually moving towards establishing rules on its digital asset ecosystem. A local report reads that the Senate has passed a bill to set up a comprehensive regulatory framework on dealings with Bitcoin and altcoins. Does that mean they're going to adopt Bitcoin? The Senate proposal defined a virtual asset as the digital representation of value that can be traded or transferred electronically, including making payments and investments. Good, I'm glad they were clean about that. According to the bill, local cryptocurrency providers should only be able to operate in Brazil and will have to obtain a license from the federal public administration body or entity. That's interesting. So hopefully it's not expensive. In turn, the government is yet to decide whether additional amendments should be made to the bill. Brazil's lawmakers will also define which federal organization will serve as a top financial watchdog to oversee the cryptocurrency provider. The proposal now needs the approval of the deputies. Earlier this year, the U.S.-based cryptocurrency platform Gemini interviewed approximately 30,000 people across 20 countries to find out which nations are the most inclined toward digital assets. Per the result, Brazil and Indonesia shared the first place as 41% of the surveyed from both states admitted being hodlers. Those who swap fiat currencies for Bitcoin or altcoins said their driving motive to do it is because they believe in crypto's long-term investment potential. Hey, that sounds like me, except I'm not Brazilian or Indonesian. Another top reason for purchasing digital assets as a hedge against the surging inflation. Brazil's current inflation rate is over 10%. Hey, that sounds like the U.S. That's so familiar, sadly. As petrol prices, for example, have soared by nearly 50%, ouch, since 2021. It's also worth mentioning that nearly half of all questioned crypto holders in Latin American region, where Brazil is located. Oh, like we didn't know that? Okay. Entered the market for the first time last year. So yeah, I totally feel. I've had several friends that still live in Brazil, who are from Brazil, and they're what they've told me about living in Brazil. Obviously, it's a beautiful place, particularly like Rio, but it's combination third world, first world kind of place. That's like even in the city you run across this where you've got people living in absolute squalor in the city. Not necessarily like in San Francisco where we got people living on the streets, which is almost the same.
You know what this?
But
you know what that reminds me of? What you just said. So you know how I went on vacation. I went to Mexico for
Right.
2 weeks, and exactly what you said. There's a lot of locals. So where I went to a bunch of larger cities that are
Right.
like tourist beachside cities,
Yep.
and a lot of those places have really modernized for tourist purposes, right? There's a lot of hotels, a lot of new businesses moving in.
Yep.
But driving around, you don't really see it. But walking around, which we did a lot of walking, you'll find these back alleys, and
Yep.
yeah,
Bodegas.
those folks out there are literally living under a piece of sheet metal.
Yeah,
like,
it's
wow,
corrugated.
that's
Yeah, the
crazy.
shanties. Yep. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
what you'll see a lot in the big cities. Like even in the nicer areas of the big cities, you'll still see the shanties and the bodegas. Not that bodegas are bad, but just local guys, local people selling what they can just to scrape a living. And the problem with that is it's like, somebody said this to my wife recently about why. Oh yeah, it was an Indian person, and why they came from India to the United States to get American citizenship. Why would they want this, knowing all the terrible things that are happening in the United States? You know what the first thing they said was? The first top reason for coming here: infrastructure. India has infrastructure in the big cities, but it's still not even as good as the United States in the not best cities. Like our podunk, middle of nowhere, backwater towns have better infrastructure than some cities in India. And this is also true in Rio de Janeiro. So even though Rio de Janeiro is a major first world city, the whole city does not have full infrastructure like we do in almost every city in the United States. So if that's any one thing other than the fact that the opportunities here, albeit still scattered, are still greater and better in general than that of the city of origin of that individual, but even my friends who live in Brazil say that's the same kind of thing. You might think you have opportunities, and I'm not saying there aren't any, but the reason, per this article, that so many people are interested in Bitcoin, not the primary, but one of the top reasons is stability. Bitcoin is more stable, even though compared to the US dollar it isn't, than the Brazilian, what's the Brazilian fiat? Well, let's just call it the Brazilian fiat. I can't remember what it's called. Peso. So yeah, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible that they have such a problem, but there's a reason why they prefer it. So Americans don't really see it unless they walk the back streets of Rio. You're not going to see that kind of stuff. You go to the Tower of the Christ. What's it called? The
I
statue.
know what you're talking about. I don't know.
You go to the statue, you might see a little bit of it, but you're really not going to see what's much. You're just going to take a tour bus to get up there. So you're not really going to see that kind of stuff unless you actually walk the back streets, back alleys of Rio. So.
All right. It's official. Central African Republic makes Bitcoin legal tender. This is written by Andrew Thorvald.
I'm trying to find it. Oh, there it is. Okay, I found it. Yep. Grab it. Where'd it go?
The Central African Republic has officially become the world's second country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender, announced the president's office on Wednesday. As with El Salvador, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has heavily criticized the decision. The news was confirmed by French agency AFP following uncertain rumors about legal tender adoption from the standout Forbes reported on Saturday. The initial report suggested that crypto adoption would help spur the nation's economic recovery and peace-building initiatives. However, there was uncertainty around whether the legislation in question, which the National Assembly passed unanimously, was a legal tender bill, or if it simply provided a legal framework for cryptocurrencies. Yet, Wednesday's report makes clear that Bitcoin will be made legal tender in the CAR alongside the CFA franc. Meanwhile, other cryptocurrencies have become legalized for use. According to Chief of Staff Obed Namcio, President Faustin Archange Tawadera has now signed the legislation into law. Quote, "This move places the Central African Republic on the map of the world's boldest and most visionary countries," Namcio declared. El Salvador was the first nation to pass Bitcoin as legal tender in June of 2021. The nation's president, Nayib Bukele, predicted earlier this year that 2 more countries would follow suit in 2022. Bukele is known to frequently snuff the IMF whenever it has a bad word to say about his decisions to adopt Bitcoin. Today, the same institution came after the CAR. It reportedly warned of large risk associated with the use of Bitcoin on financial stability, financial integrity, and consumer protection, alongside problems with Bitcoin-backed bonds. The nation's existing currency is not currently recognized by the IMF. This makes international trade with the CAR and a dozen other African countries exceedingly difficult and heavily dependent on France. While discussing the bill, Digital Economy Minister Justin Gorna-Zacco stated last Thursday that cryptocurrencies could help the people bypass central bank difficulty and control involved with transfers under the current system. At Bitcoin 2022, UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou claimed that Bitcoin could be a financial solution for the majority of Africans that cannot afford a bank account. Cheap international transfers are also part of what made Bitcoin attractive in El Salvador, where remittance fees can reportedly exceed 30% through traditional methods. For this reason, an MP from Tonga, the world's most remittance-dependent country, is also striving to make Bitcoin a currency in the region.
Well, I'm excited about Tonga doing it.
I have to just applaud. Here we go. This is history right here. History in the making. Once again, this is all according to the plan of the World Economic Forum. More nations are going to continue to adopt it. But I appreciate the way they're doing it this way. Making Bitcoin legal tender is more the way that I'm like, yes, that's the way it should be. Now, creating your own central token that's controlled by the government and saying, hey, people, download our app and we get to make decisions if you get to have money in your account or not, is not something that I'm really for.
Yeah, I hope that the El Salvadorian people decide to go with some other Lightning wallet to keep their money instead of Shiba wallet. I mean, Shiba wallet is the de facto, right? Which means you're going to be able to, it'll be trustworthy, at least for the most part.
So here's the thing: 40% downloaded the wallet. Maybe they moved it into a different wallet, and therefore, just because they don't trust a government crypto wallet, we don't know what maybe they're smarter than we
I'm sure they
think they are, right?
Yep.
Maybe immediately they took their crypto offices. I don't want my crypto in the Chiva wallet. We don't know. So,
yep.
Anyways, this is good, man. I approve it. I'm applauding.
Yeah, I'm
Congrats.
grateful to see another country do this. It's obvious that, per the El Salvador example, even though Nayib Bukele was doing it more for his own personal benefit, he always recognized that if you can get a coin that is more stable than the country currently, which is ironic at the same time, you're like, I can't see a real dictator truly being interested in Bitcoin other than the fact that he knows he controls the Chiva wallet. But he's interested in it because he sees the value come from breaking his country away from dependence on the United States dollar, which is really what I think his purpose was primarily. But
Well, what it also did was it kind of gave it this nice shining highlight on the nation, saying, "Hey, tourists, come to us. We're a beautiful nation that is very modernized with our
yep,
technology and very friendly. Come to us." And guess what? Boom,
yeah,
the
and,
masses went out
and it's
there
like the
and
same
just
thing
dumped all their fiat.
with just being the first to the table, right? They're the first ones there, so everyone thinks of them first. Of course, we talk about them all the time on this channel. So of course, we're going to be praising El Salvador, even though we're not super fond of his president. But the thing that weirds me out the most is how the IMF just keeps criticizing, like, hey, how dare you start using a different coin? That's dangerous. You should go back to using regular fiat because that's what we trust. I keep feeling in my head, I keep feeling like putting both middle fingers up to the IMF saying, go fuck yourselves, dudes. This is the future, and if the IMF doesn't get on board with it, it's going to get left in the dust. Sorry.
In the dust.
So, moving on
Yep.
to... I'm just going to read this title and read the next article. Optimism announces airdrop of OP token. What do you need to know? Well, you can read this for yourself. I just want to let you know Optimism is announcing an airdrop. On to the next article. World's first ETP combined Bitcoin gold exposures launches on 6. That's the name of the exchange. Swiss exchange. By China Kadika. The first exchange-traded product, ETP, that combines Bitcoin and gold exposure has been listed on Europe's third biggest stock exchange, 6. The newest product has been unveiled by Zug-based ETP issuer 21 Shares in partnership with investment advisor ByteTree Asset Management, or BTAM. According to the official post, the physically backed index, known as 21 Shares ByteTree Bold ETP, or the Bold ticker, is designed to track an index comprising Bitcoin and gold, which rebalances monthly as per the comparative volatility of the two assets. The fund will rebalance on the basis of a 360-day historical volatility. The asset with less volatility will achieve higher weightage in a bid to maximize risk-weighted returns. Due to its higher volatility, gold has been assigned with a higher weighting of 81.5% at launch. Bitcoin, on the other hand, has an 18.5% share. Its objective is to deliver inflation protection by tracking an index that gives optimal risk-adjusted exposure to Bitcoin and gold. The announcement also read, quote, gold and Bitcoin provide diversification to a balanced portfolio. Bold offers investors a convenient way to invest in gold and Bitcoin in a structure that prudently manages risk. Rebalancing transactions are carried out with a tax-efficient structure. Within a tax-efficient structure. End quote. Charlie Irith, a chief investment officer of ByteTree Asset Management, said the idea is to make Bitcoin an acceptable asset to hold while bringing gold into the 21st century. It's funny, gold wasn't in the 21st century. Both assets have attracted significant attention as hedging tools against inflation. Amidst rising structural inflation and heightened geopolitical risk, especially with Russia cutting off all the natural gas to Europe, I know that's not in the article, but that's what's happening, Erith believes the hybrid product has a potential to act as an important risk and return diversifier in a balanced portfolio. Following the development, Haney Rashwan, 21 Shares co-founder and CEO, commented, quote, this hybrid product combines the traditional value of gold with the promising return rates of Bitcoin, which is considered by many as the new gold, end quote. The new ETP is the 30th product by 21 Shares. The popular crypto ETP issuer even ventured into the metaverse with 21 Shares, the sandbox ETP Sand, earlier this month. Earlier, it revealed that the ETP is designed to provide investors a secure way to capitalize on the growth of the Ethereum-based decentralized virtual world, the Sandbox. As reported before, 21 Shares teamed up with the ETF Securities to roll out the first 2 ETFs in Australia, tracking the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum. However, the launch has been delayed for now. So yay, new ETP, gold and Bitcoin. That's cool. Glad to see it. We get the Buenos Aires thing.
Okay, let's see here. Let's just load this up here. Where were we at? Buenos Aires, which is good air, considering allowing locals to pay taxes in crypto, written by Dimitar Zunzarov. The mayor of Buenos Aires, Horacio Rodriguez Larreta, indicated that the city will soon start digitizing its administration processes, while blockchain technology will play a key role. Additionally, the political leaders hinted that residents could be allowed to pay their taxes in crypto assets instead. The latest megalopolis that helped dive deep into the cryptocurrency universe is Argentina's capital, Buenos Aires. In a recent interview, its mayor Horacio Rodriguez Larreta presented a 12-step plan called Buenos Aires Plus, which will aim to transform the city into a digital hub. An important part of the agenda is the self-sovereign digital identity, which is one of the most innovative tools that are being given in the world so that citizens have their digital identification. Boom! Yes, I want to look more into this. This sounds amazing. Through an application, locals will be able to authenticate their identity, which will enable them to have access to all their information in one place, their phones. Yes. Vaccination certificates, test results, civil registry documents, and birth certificates are some of the examples of documents that should go digital by the end of 2022. Yes. I want this, man. Is this a bad thing? What do you think, Jake? Is this am I too just giddy about this?
I think it's brilliant.
What?
I too am on board, because one of the things that bugs me so much is constantly being pestered by people like, hey, do you have your car's registration on you in your car? I'm like, yeah, I carry my phone every day. Isn't that good enough? What if you just had all that stuff on your phone? I mean, how do I put this exactly? I think by now, the majority of people who are at least somewhat aware of technology understand the importance of your phone. It's not just a personal digital assistant. It is your lifeblood. It is the essence of who you are. It's the reason the government wants into it so badly is because it contains your entire life for the most part. And if to put everything of your life, including, as they say, test results, birth certificates, civil registry documents, vaccination certificates, everything, how is that bad? I mean, I get it. Some people are going to say that just means that all the information that's important to you will be accessible to a thief if they get a hold of it. Yes, that's technically true. But the nice thing about the phone is, unless they force you to open it, it's locked. Hopefully, everyone has it locked with a password that's not easily crackable. Please don't use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The scary part is that this is gonna. Yeah, exactly. Don't do that. The scary part is that this is gonna be on the blockchain. Wow.
Well, as long as it's encrypted, I don't think I would care. Right. I mean, I know some people. Let me just make this point about that factor. If the information is available, like our emails, most of our emails, are technically out there in the open, anyone could quote-unquote read it. Now, if it's encrypted with a heavy enough encryption, like 512 bit or something, then the likelihood of people cracking it is pretty slim. Yes, it's possible, but it could take an immensely long time depending upon the security of that encryption. So even though it's out there and available to everyone, it's still encrypted. Now, my crypto security advisor guy, I'm a member of my team, would say it's still stupid no matter what. And to me, it's just like, well, then maybe you're going to have to keep your self-identifying documents in a different way. But some people, in my opinion, are going to go this direction. And yes, it's going to suck if that gets hacked. But
that is going to be the new, I guess, the new layer of Web3, which is going to be self-sovereign identity.
Yep. Yeah, it's not tied to the government. Web3, man. So the government doesn't have to worry about keeping their computers up. All they have to do is worry that it's tied to the blockchain and someone's still mining it.
Yep. So. The mayor noted that the successful outcome of the initiative requires enhanced security. For that purpose, the authorities intend to embrace blockchain technology. Quote, All this flow of information, which is going to increase exponentially, is going to be protected by blockchain technology. We have the clear conviction that citizens have to own their information, their documents, because we trust their ability and they have the responsibility to do so. End quote. Apart from opening its arms to blockchain technology, residents of Argentina's capital might might be enabled to pay their taxes in cryptocurrency. Another quote. And we are going to work to facilitate the payments of taxes, the ninth measure of this plan. Together with the leading companies, we are working so that those who wish can pay their taxes in cryptocurrencies, Rodriguez Larreta said. Despite the possible interactions with the digital asset sector, Buenos Aires does not plan to invest some of the city's treasury in cryptocurrency. That's odd. Okay, maybe not now. Maybe, well, I don't know. We'll see. Brazil's financial hub, Rio de Janeiro, has also taken steps to embrace the world of crypto. Earlier this year, the city's authorities said they will accept digital asset payments for taxes starting from 2023. Prior to that, Rio de Janeiro Mayor's Eduardo Paes vowed to allocate 1% of the city's treasury to Bitcoin. The leader is a keen supporter of Miami's mayor, Francis Suarez. Similar to him, Paes is willing to transform Rio de Janeiro into the crypto capital of Brazil and the tech center of South America. Well, I mean, this is pretty cool, man. I mean, sounds like good news to me. What's the bad in this? Come on, there's always something going on behind the curtain. I don't know what it is. This article doesn't really point it out, but just from front value, this sounds pretty cool. I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm excited about what they're doing here. They're setting a precedent. They're saying we're going to start doing this. We've already done the research. We think it's a good idea, and we're going to push forward with it. I'm grateful to see that happening because we need. Well, I just put it. El Salvador took the first initiative, and now other people are going, "Hey, we can do this too." Just different ways of doing it. So,
the biggest thing right now is self-sovereign identity. Right now, that does not exist in current internet.
Yep.
These private companies, if you're using the internet, if you're using any kind of website service, they own all your data. They own it all.
Yep.
You don't own anything.
Nope.
They
well, I mean,
profit
unless you keep it on
that.
paper. But yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it's
But
good
if we
to
can
see
have
it
self-sovereign
decentralized.
identity, if this could only be verified by you and you only, and you have the ability to only reveal a certain amount of data, that's cool. I like that.
Yep. We are
Awesome.
moving to the third web version, so we get away from centralized to decentralized to your ownership. So
Love
that's
it.
good. I'm glad. All right, so Chinese. Here, the Chinese. This is Chinese marketplace Bigverse found guilty of minting NFTs from stolen artwork. Oh man, learn. A court in China's eastern city of Hangzhou held NFTCN's parent company Bigverse accountable for allowing a user to mint NFTs from stolen artwork. In a landmark judgment, the court accused the Chinese digital art trading platform of failing to ensure whether the user minting the NFTs was in fact the rightful owner of the artwork. We've definitely already seen this happen here in the U.S. According to the report by South China Morning Post, the court ruled...
Hold on. Let me just cut you off right there.
Sure, please.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This actually already happened to me. My book is minted on the Ravencoin blockchain. I've already had my book stolen and reminted by some other troll out there. So yes.
So it's definitely a problem.
All right, go ahead.
Now, obviously, I don't know how to put it. If you already have it on the blockchain in one place, I guess technically a person could put it somewhere else. But if you have a unique identifier for that, and they do put it back on the chain somewhere in some other place, you can say, well, by timing, I did it first. It's mine, right? It's kind of like a patent, right? Whoever gets there first is the winner.
So what do you do with the other blockchain? Say, for example, the same artist minted.
Like I said, it's still by time. It's still by time. If you were the first to release it, and you can authenticate that you own it, and in the sense of not just being the first person, but saying, hey, it's got my name on it. I wrote this. And then somebody takes it and mints it somewhere else. It's like, yeah, but at that point, I think the law, even though the law doesn't technically cover, blockchain yet, the law would still say, as an asset or a thing minted or printed, if you had the first copyright, having minted it first, regardless of where you minted it, it's still yours because you were the first to do it. Now, of course, if you were the first to do it and it wasn't yours, that would have to be determined. But if you're the first to do it and it was yours, in fact, like even if you had never minted it anywhere on any blockchain, it's still a question of where the first minting or first authenticated version of it existed. And if that happened to be in print or in a digital copy or something like that, was authenticated by some federal, entity,
it's very complicated.
it belongs to you, regardless of where somebody else tries printing it. So the problem you have, and I hate to say it this way, is you kind of have to sue that person in order to get it back. They don't own it.
Yeah.
Even if it's minted on a different blockchain, they still don't own it because it's not theirs to own.
How do you sue a crypto address?
Well, you know where all the money went, right? I mean, but let's put it this way. Let's say the person mints your book on Ethereum, right? And a bunch of people pay that person to their known address for that coin. Regardless of where the coin goes, if you find out who owns that address, if you do,
which most likely you will not, is what I'm
maybe
trying
not,
to get
but
because all you,
what if you can find out who owns that initial address, regardless of whether or not the money is still there, like if they took it and moved it somewhere else, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is you have proof of what they did. You have proof that they stole your product, that they minted it on a different blockchain, and they were paid for it. And since you have that, it's public information. I'm not saying it's going to be easy to necessarily find out who they are, but if you can, you can then prosecute. I mean, that's part of it. That would be true even if it was just a physical print book with some other company you didn't know about. Like I said, they printed it with Penguin Books, right? And you weren't a Penguin Book author. You could, and you didn't know about it until somebody brought it to your attention. Now with Penguin Books, you can easily talk to who they are, and you could, file the documentation to help figure out who it is. But you can go through Chainalysis. Chainalysis could probably help you figure out who created it, right? Because they monitor the blockchain. So
but
there are ways to find it.
I think I spoke to you about this before with Chainalysis. They don't do individual stuff. They do big corporate investigations.
What I'm saying
so
is
there needs
you
to be
still
more
have to investigate
like
to find out, and then you have to get a court order in order to get that prosecuted. The fact of the matter is, just because it's on the blockchain doesn't mean that person has legal right to do it. This is the thing I was arguing with you and Mike about years ago when you're talking about minting assets that you make copies of movies that you didn't produce and putting them on the blockchain. Yeah, it's physically possible to do, and maybe no one knows who it was that did it, but it's still illegal. So that's what my primary thing is. It's like, you can do whatever you want. Just know you might get prosecuted for doing something that's illegal in that current country. So, anywho, where was I at here? According to a report by South China Morning Post, the court ruled that the NFT CN was at fault for allowing the infringement of the owner's right to disseminate works through the information networks. That's what I was just saying. The lawsuit against Bigverse was filed with Shenzhen-based company QICE. Sorry. I'm sure there's a different pronunciation. I'm just not getting it. The plaintiff stated that the user at the NFTCN marketplace listed a non-fungible token with an artwork featuring a cartoon tiger receiving a vaccine shot created by artist Malay Kinali. The cartoon picture was sold by an anonymous user for $137, the report said. To compensate for the loss, Bigverse was ordered to pay QICE a fine of $611 and stop the NFT from being circulated by sending it to an Ether address, which is essentially a crypto wallet with no private key. That is to make it disappear permanently. The court argued that Bigverse is responsible for overseeing users' actions that violate other clients' rights, since it directly profits from such transactions. It further suggested that the NFT marketplace should set up a copyright vetting mechanism to look into the artworks uploaded by users on its platform, kind of like what YouTube does, right? The latest development comes less than a month after the popular Chinese messaging app WeChat announced suspending a few accounts linked to NFTs to prevent speculation on digital assets, in the digital assets. Despite China's regulations, distaste for cryptocurrency trading and mining operations, the NFT digital art market has been bustling. So far, the country has permitted NFTs but banned individuals from speculating and trading them. Tech Goliaths such as Alibaba, Tencent, and JD have come up with their own initiatives to allow users to purchase and collect NFTs. However, they are barred from trading or reselling their purchases. Such a weird country, in my opinion. As reported earlier, China's state-backed blockchain infrastructure, Blockchain Services Network, which sounds pretty generic, BSN, announced plans to launch NFTs. In a bid to accelerate such adoption, BSN teamed up with Neo to create a permissionless chain, or Zhuquan. So, the Chinese government is very jealous of their citizens, and every single time the citizen does something amazing, they basically steal it and ban what they were doing. Which is not uncommon. This has been going on for years in China. It's not new. But it's sad, because it's like, oh, you're doing something profitable? Yeah, we're going to take that and do it ourselves. Kind of like what Amazon does to everyone else. So, except it's the government doing it, not private industry. So there's an article from Texas. Well, we already did that one. We can skip that because we already read it. How about European crypto users prefer decentralized services?
Sure. Let's see. This one's written by Felix Molin. European crypto users prefer decentralized services. Bank of Spain. This one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. On April 26th, Bank of Spain published a report elaborating on how Spaniards and Europeans have been using cryptocurrencies during the last year. The report explains that Europeans prefer decentralized services and unbanked crypto assets such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ethereum. In addition, the Central Bank of Spain noted that the volume of cryptocurrencies transactions in the European region increased at an accelerated rate over the last year, reaching almost 845 billion euros, surpassing that of the United States. Quote, over the past year, the volume of transactions in Europe was nearly 845 billion euros in crypto assets, 4.9% of GDP, 0.9% of total financial assets, representing 25% of the global total, ahead of North America.
Wow.
Unquote. According to the report, Europeans have a greater interest in using unbanked cryptocurrencies, with transactions in BTC and ETH accounting for approximately 60% of all transactions made over the last year. Backed cryptocurrencies accounted for 25%, with overall interest in altcoins other than ETH reaching about 15%. And here's a nice little beautiful chart, all that data. On the other hand, the ECB reported that 64% of Spaniards prefer to use decentralized services, which do not need an intermediary to carry out their transactions. In comparison, in the rest of Europe, the average use of these services is 53%. And here's another little beautiful chart. This means that despite the boom that centralized exchanges like Binance or Bit2Me are having in Europe, the legal background encourages citizens to seek alternatives to transact and trade. Uniswap, PancakeSwap, SushiSwap, and other similar services fill that gap. It seems like criminals are not really into cryptocurrencies. The report says that only 1% of the total cryptocurrencies transactions between July 2020 and June 2021 involved illegal activities such as theft, scams, and frauds, among others. Go ahead.
Say again?
No, I thought you had something.
I was laughing because, like, haha, criminals don't use crypto, as I've been saying all this time.
According to the report, France ranks first in Europe regarding transaction volumes, with Germany, the Netherlands, and Spain positioned in second, third, or fourth place. These results are to be expected. A different report by the online investment news and education platforms Invez. France is the best nation to trade Bitcoin. In addition to this, the re-elected president of France, Emmanuel Macron, is one of the few pro-Bitcoin presidents in Europe. During an interview for local media, he talked about creating a European metaverse where cryptocurrencies are regulated without affecting or slowing down their development. Quote, building a European metaverse also means producing, promoting, and mastering our cultural and creative content. The metaverse has enormous potential in cultural and entertainment thanks to its applications in music, concerts, art exhibitions, etc. We cannot consider our cultural policy without this revolution, end quote. And so France could become a leader in the European cryptocurrency should Macron fulfill the promise of setting up a legal framework that boosts the cryptocurrency industry and promotes innovation in the Web3 area.
I know I had a thought about this while you were reading it, and I wanted to try to express it, but I can't remember what it is now. I think it's not super fascinating, but pretty. I hate to put it this way, but since this more modern revolution in the last 30 years, I've definitely seen European countries adopt things that you would think the United States would be more into. But for whatever reason, we're struggling with our own problems right now, and those issues are very antagonistic toward almost anything. When it comes to it, the United States is becoming very split on almost everything because of the past administration and how things were going. I'm not blaming the guy who served in the presidential role alone, but the country seemed to be heading that way already, into splitting things along party lines, and it's, in my opinion, it's disruptive of other things like these important movements into crypto, and I don't feel like the European Union has quite as much trouble with that right now. They're already their own countries and they're doing their own thing, so it's great to see them making progress and leading the way on this. So, all right. Decentralized social media project Blue Sky says it's independent of Twitter. By Antonio.
And is this Amazon project?
I don't think
Blue
so.
Sky?
I don't know. We'll find out. I think I've read about this before, but I don't remember what it came from.
Yeah,
Something to do
it's been
with
a while.
something to do with Jack Dorsey.
Oh, Twitter. Okay.
Blue Sky, a project funded by Twitter, I guess that was prior to Elon owning it, to build a decentralized standard for social media, has stated that the company is not controlled by the company following Elon Musk's purchase. Okay, so it has always been separate. It was just created by Twitter. In a tweet thread on April 25th, Blue Sky stated that although it was funded by Twitter, the social media platform does not hold any controlling stake in the platform. Blue Sky also clarified that Twitter's funding came with one condition, that the project carried out research and development technologies that enabled open and decentralized public conversation. Former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey first announced the creation of Blue Sky back in December 2019, indicating that the plan was to develop an open and decentralized standard for social media. That's good to see. Later in 2021, August, Jay Graber, or Jay Graber, a former developer for the privacy coin Zcash, was appointed to lead the Blue Sky initiative. In February of 2022, the project became a public benefit limited liability company, or PBLLC. Peanut Butter LLC? Sorry. At the end of March 2022, Graber announced the project's first team members, who had Aaron Goldman as a security engineer and Daniel Holmgren and Paul Frazee as protocol engineers. Blue Sky, which has Dorsey as a member of its board, revealed that the initiative has received funding worth $13 million to be used for research and development. An excerpt from the thread said, quote, "The public benefit part of our structure gives us the freedom to put our resources toward our mission without an obligation to return money to shareholders," end quote. Blue Sky's clarification means that the project is not affected by the recent purchase of Twitter, as reported by Crypto Potato. The social media giant accepted a buyout deal by billionaire and CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, Elon Musk, worth $44 billion. Musk earlier bought a 9.2% passive stake in the social media platform, making him the largest shareholder in the company. Following the purchase of the shares, the billionaire was appointed to Twitter's board and directors he later decided not to join. The Tesla and SpaceX CEO has been critical of Twitter's practices, stating that the social media behemoth was not transparent and failed to adhere to free speech principles. Having secured 100% control of Twitter, Musk is aiming to improve the platform by, quote, enhancing the product with new features, making the algorithms open source to increase trust, defeating the spam bots, and authenticating all humans, end quote. Doge, unrelated to this apparently, which happens to be the billionaire's favorite crypto, has also soared in value amid the Twitter sale news. The price of the meme coin rose 26% on the news that Twitter buyout deal was finalized.
Side note, after this happened, apparently the alt app, which is Truth Social, that was I guess created by former President Donald Trump, has skyrocketed to first place in the app market because apparently a lot of people are abandoning Twitter because of this buyout deal. A lot of people are upset about this and decided to move over to Trump's app.
Yes, the True Social app, which is
Yeah.
not 100% surprising. Well, we see that I do remember them saying something about inviting Trump back to Twitter now that Elon Musk owns it, but I think Trump turned it down because he's like, well, I mean, honestly, it makes sense. He's like, not right now, but at the same time, I have a feeling it's kind of like if he wants to post something publicly, he can do it on his own app that he's now made. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's actually a lot of good news out here for you listeners and viewers out there on CryptoPotato.com. I am going just to recommend you going and check out all the news articles there on the daily because they do a pretty good job now. I know at the beginning they're a bit choppy, but they're doing a lot better. Have you noticed that, Jake?
Yeah, no, the articles,
Yeah.
not all the time. But one thing that still bugs me is when they repeat themselves multiple times in the same article. But I think it just has to do with I don't even know. I shouldn't speculate on it. I don't really know the reasoning.
All right. Well, there's another news article I do want to read, and I'm sorry, I'm just gonna just scroll down through it, and hopefully you can just find it along while I read. So right now I'm just gonna read a bunch of titles so I get to the one I'm looking for. The next one is Robinhood shares falls as company fires 9% of full-time employees. Next one is U.S. prosecutors charge 2 Europeans in connections with North Korea crypto conference. And once again, cryptonauts out there listening and watching, this is all on Crypto Potato. You guys can read all that stuff. Next one is Bybit launches crypto options trading. Next is Flare Network receives grant to connect Bitcoin with Algorand. Next, Bitcoin is not an inflation hedge, says Bank of Canada official. Next, 0x Labs raises $70 million from Greylock Partners, Coinbase, OpenSea. Next, Cardano's IOHK shares updates with new cross-chain bridge launched. Next, SushiSwap 2.0 reveals restructuring plans after months of internal crisis. Next, Bitcoin less volatile than Tesla and Apple for the past 2 years, claims Binance CEO. Next, Cardano struggles below $1. Here's what's next. And that's price analysis. And this is the one I'm looking for, the Meta to launch retail stores for the metaverse. This was written by Shainika Deka on April 26th. As it eyes to transform itself into the metaverse leader, Facebook owner Meta Platforms is all set to launch its first physical store. The company's CEO Mark Zuckerberg revealed that the brick and mortar Meta store will open on May 9th as the company's Burlingame campus in California. Ooh, I didn't know that they're doing an actual Meta store. Here, customers can explore and purchase virtual reality headset and other gadgets in a 1,550 square foot retail place. According to Zuckerberg's Facebook post, the store will also showcase demos for its Quest 2 VR headset, a virtual reality headset developed by Reality Labs, a video calling device portal in addition to smart glasses it produced with Ray-Ban. Except for those, shoppers can try out the devices to experiment with AR, VR, and purchase them in stores or later online at Meta's or Ray-Ban's website. The tech billionaire said, quote, Meta's first store is opening in Burlingame, California on May 9th. You can experience Quest 2 and project what you're experiencing onto projecting what you're experiencing onto a big wall for your friends. It's great. It's a great way to see how our products connect people today and get a sense for what's coming as we build towards the metaverse, end quote. Meta is trying new initiatives to meet the headwinds of an evolving digital landscape. The company had lost $10 billion on its Reality Labs segment managing the metaverse initiatives. Despite this, Zuckerberg intends to focus on the same and expects its ambitious metaverse project would take at least a decade or more to be fully developed. Martin Gillard, head of Metastore, commented, quote, the Metastore is going to help people make the connection to how our products can be the gateway to the metaverse in the future. We're not selling the metaverse in our stores, but hopefully people will come in and walk out knowing a little bit more about how our products will help connect them to it. Meta plans to help creators by allowing them to sell virtual items in its metaverse. The company revealed earlier testing new tools for the creators on the virtual reality platform Horizon Worlds by allowing a handful of them to sell virtual assets within the world they build. This could also include non-fungible tokens, NFTs, but a sizable cut of up to 47.5% of the sales of digital assets of what? Did I read that right? But a sizable cut of up to 47.5% of the sales of the digital assets,
You already knew this,
along
right?
with a
You weren't aware of that fact?
I
We're
don't
talking about
recall that.
Facebook here.
47%?
Yeah, it's more than the 30% that Apple takes from all apps.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, it's not
That's
a good deal.
insane.
It's not a good deal.
No.
A lot of people are fighting.
Why would you do that? Screw it.
Yep.
Don't do it.
I completely agree.
There's a lot of different metaverses out there. Don't just think that just because Facebook is the biggest place that, there's other places out there. You can do it for free. Just pay transaction fees.
Yep.
Along with an additional 17.5% fee charged by Horizon, and very well deter the adoption of the metaverse projects shepherded by the world's biggest social media company. Yeah, that's going to hurt them a lot. That's going to hurt them. Screw it.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. I'm done.
I have one more thing I'd like to make a comment on. Here is this. That was a couple days ago now. Maybe you've already heard of it, but beware. The Bored Ape Yacht Club Instagram got hacked by Andrew Thorvalas. Bored Ape Yacht Club confirmed over Twitter on Monday, which was 2 days ago, that its Instagram account was hacked. A scam link posted by the hacker appears to have resulted in multiple valuable NFTs being stolen from victims. The link, which has been since taken down, led to a page claiming to be sponsored by Yuga Labs. It's a company that makes this. It called on users to connect their MetaMask wallet in order to be airdropped LAND, L-A-N-D, a upcoming governance and utility token. However, multiple holders are now claiming to have had their ape stolen from the related scam. The scammer's address has already amassed an estimated $2.7 million worth of NFTs, 91 in total of the time of writing. This includes 4 BAYC, 7 MYAC or mutant, 3 BAKC, and 1 clone X, and more. There is no mint going on today, tweeted BAYC this morning. It looks like Bored Ape Yacht Club Instagram was hacked. Do not mint anything. Click any links or link your wallet to anything, please. Multiple BAYC accounts have confirmed that there will be an actual airdrop for BAYC land, but that the mint doesn't occur until April 30th. OpenSea, the largest NFT marketplace, has taken down its link to the scammer's address. BAYC's Instagram hack comes shortly after the group's official Discord was hacked as well. That sucks. Blockchain security from PeckShield reported that the hack resulted in one mutant ape worth over $68,000 being stolen. Earlier this month, another unfortunate holder was fooled into selling his Bored Ape, worth over $500,000 in a fraudulent NFT swap. That really sucked. I remember that was $550,000 gone. One scammer conducted a similar hack on Terra users last week, using a fake Google link to fish for their private keys. He reeled in $4 million in crypto in 10 days from his victims. Yeah, a fool and his money are soon parted. Sorry to say.
Yep.
Even if it is Bored Apes.
Surprised.
This is the thing. It's funny because I talked to a person recently. Just one last word on this thing that's going on here is that I had a friend who was trying to get into insurance on crypto, and although he did try an awful lot for about a year, he never managed to get the money together to actually start the project. And I still say that insurance on crypto is a good idea. Now, it's going to be very expensive because it's pretty much going to have to, back up everything that you're doing. But I think it is something that we will see soon because of these loss. I mean, this moment, crypto is very expensive. Someone's going to have a whole lot of cash in order to back this up.
Exactly. I was about to just my two satoshis on this is that there is a slight downfall on that because a lot of these insured crypto projects are actually backed by angel investors, which means that they're pretty much centralized and kind of giving these investors the best portion, the best chunk of the pie.
Remember a while back when Celsius actually offered insurance? Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's impossible to do. You just have to store some cash aside from all the transactions, and that becomes the insurance policy. Now, does that mean it perfectly guarantees all of the insurance? No. The way insurance works is by putting money aside or taking it from on a regular basis from people in order to pay out those claims when they actually happen. So,
if I recall correctly, I think it's 4-to-1. So
Yeah.
if you're putting if you want $1,000 of insurance, you gotta front 4,000.
Exactly. So it can be pretty pricey, but it pretty much guarantees that if you lose something because of some dumbass act that you did, not knowing, your money's safe.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's all we got for today. Thank you all for listening this far. We're about an hour and 25 in. It's probably one of the longer episodes we've done.
In a while, yeah. It's a good way to wrap up the 300th, I guess, the 99th episode, and rolling over to the 400ths now.
Yep, that'll be on Sunday. So I'm going to do the outro here and say that if you, as John has said it many, many, many times, you should always stack sats and hodl. Adios.